Hey, Emily.
How are you, my friend?
Hanging in there. How are you? How are you today? That's the question that I ask now. How are you today?
I am doing good today. Thank you for asking. You're looking dapper, hair all
Yeah.
done. You're got your
Oh,
nice
that's
polo
just
on.
Greece. That's just Greece.
So thanks for being willing to do this.
Hey, no, look, I appreciate you all. I hope you know that. We all appreciate you all. That's like the entire community. So
Cool.
that's just amazing.
Can you give us a little insight into where those initial dollars went in the first, 72 hours? I know you folks are instrumental in getting, immediate community support out there.
Yeah, in the first 72 hours, in all honesty, I can't remember that much. I think we were all going about 22 hours a day and sleeping at our desks. But the values that United Ways have in every community is that direct pulse on who's doing what and who's doing what well. With our experience during the pandemic, we were able to stand up emergency grants fairly quickly for up to $10,000. And that support went to agencies that were providing transportation for medical appointments because so many lost their cars, supporting individuals get their documents through consulates because they didn't have documents, to our Native Hawaiian healthcare system, as well as food security issues. What we saw was everybody just all hands on deck, do what they do well. And with our partners and who we know and how we vet, we're able to fund those agencies fairly quickly.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Now, you folks also stood up the emergency assistance program, which really helped a lot of individuals and homeowners kind of get stabilized. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, when you say you all, it's us, it's all of us. Aloha United Way played a massive part in that, from their IT team to their community impact specialists to their 211 operators. This was an all hands on deck community lift that everyone took part in, because we are so good at evaluating where needs can be met. That's where we stepped in. So we couldn't get data. This is an interesting story. We couldn't get data from FEMA or Red Cross because it was so early. So we have partners with NASA on some previous projects that we were actually able to map the area fairly quickly in that burn scar. And any address within those two areas, both in Lahaina and Kula, we set up the system that they could receive up to $1,000 per adult, up to 5 adults per household. And now when we say that that supports a lot, it really doesn't. It's never enough, and it could never come fast enough. What that was a simple, it's not as simple, it's complex. It was an opportunity for survivors to make their first choices. They were empowered to decide what kind of food that they want, where they could use these funds. That's what that initial financial aid was. Believe it or not, this should be POW here pretty shortly. And I believe yesterday we handed out a lot of physical cards. I think over $250,000 to individuals in Lahaina and here at UHMC for those individuals that qualified.
That's amazing. I've got a little bit of a tough question, and I'm hoping you can just share some light on this. What does the timeline of recovery look like?
It's a question that everyone asks. You can compare apples to oranges, and that's not a good analogy, but there's been a lot of disasters. We've been working very closely with our United Way partners in Northern California that have dealt with the Paradise fires and Camp fires, our individuals in Southeast Louisiana that have dealt with Katrina. What we're seeing right now is the timelines that they saw are actually a little bit faster out here. So long-term case management was stood up in 8 months in California. It's going to be happening a lot faster than that here in Maui County. So as these disasters become and are becoming more prevalent, the systems are improving. Now, when it comes to recovery, this will never end. I just will be honest, it will never end. This is a before and after moment where these individuals that have been directly impacted are going to be in recovery the rest of their lives. And I don't say that lightly. The mental health crisis that we are already facing and that will continue to grow will continue to grow. If we're looking at clearing, EPA, all of those things, they're saying it's going to be about 6 months before, they get right of entry to where, it can start to be cleared. Last I heard, EPA was about 50% through the area on the immediate kind of I guess, emergency care, looking at propane tanks, batteries, some of those high, caustic materials. If you're looking at rebuilding, I am not the person to answer that question. Individuals in Lahaina that have that voice, and in Kula, that they decide how they want this built. I can't answer that question, but what we can do is we can provide connections within our nonprofit sector and corporate sector that hopefully can ease that and speed that up a little bit on the process.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. What's next? What's next for Maui United Way? What's next for the community in the next, if we had to say 60 to 90 days?
I am trying to look 60 to 90 days out when we say what's next for our community and for Maui United Way. A lot of things happen on a daily basis that you just can't plan for. We are trying to be in that more proactive phase. I do see the long-term recovery group standing up, with Maui United Way being heavily engaged in that, as well as the Maui County nonprofit directors. I see us making sure that we bring the right voices to the table that don't necessarily have that voice. But I also see a lot of the larger efforts winding down. A lot of the bigger agencies that are on island leaving. We're starting to see that now. I've been at the Emergency Operations Center the last, I don't know, not that many days, maybe a week or so. You are seeing it. Teams transitioning out, slowing down, starting to work into that long-term recovery. What I hope for is that we can assess and understand what the pukas are. We see individuals that, aren't going to be qualifying for housing. I see basically a tent city being set up like it's a forward operating base in warfare. But who doesn't qualify? Who doesn't fill in those buckets for FEMA and Red Cross and other assistance? And even if they do qualify, what are those pukas? Because we have so much inequity and high cost of living and a housing crisis here even before this disaster. What I hope for is that we know what those pukas are so we can start addressing them before anyone falls through the cracks.
Nick, if there's one thing you want as kind of you want me to leave this call with, what would that be?
That this is not going to end. This is a before and after moment for our community here, but it's also our entire state. This is going to affect every nonprofit, every government, every budget for a very, very, very long time. I'm fearful for our community here, but I'm also cognizant of the resources that we are receiving and what that means for the rest of the state as well. Hawaii as a whole is inequitable. We have inequity here more so than a lot of places in the continent and beyond. What we're hoping for is that individuals and communities and supporters just don't forget that this isn't just a one-time thing. It's an ongoing thing, both for our community here in Maui, but also for the entire state. And we have enough ripple effects right now that we're seeing from this initial disaster that we don't want it to expand any further than it has to. So the more support that we can get for our entire state and our entire communities to where we can address the inequity, that's what I hope to leave with.
Really appreciate it, Nick. How are you doing?
That's tough, right? It's I go home, we stay awake for about 2 hours. I go to sleep, I get up, and I come straight back to work at, get up about 5, and that's just how it goes. But if I'm not busy, not good, right? But we're very, very, very busy. So it's we'll find an end, right? It's the old mental trick is like, let me get to this point, and then that'll be the end, and that's not the end, and then you go, that's over there. So we'll keep doing that, but great support network here. It's awesome to have you all. Like, I hope you know that. Like, I don't say it enough, like just what you guys have been able to do for us out here. United Ways are very important in these situations. And, we are like the only local nonprofit that's in the EOC right now, right? Like, we are being tapped for all of these things. There's heaps of opportunities. It's a different time. But I think, my rose-colored glasses and altruism hopes that, we can address some of these issues, like I said, that we had prior to this, and bring to light really the inequity that is in our community.
Yeah.
It's front of mind, right? Like, how do we bring more resources in and at the level, the state level and beyond? Because it has been important. It has been a lifeline, I think, that our community wouldn't be where it's at without everything that you guys are doing in 211 and everybody else.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's our pleasure. Look, we're family. Truly, that's how we feel. But I know you're in communication with the group. Just, ping me anytime you need something. Stay positive, stay energized. Sending lots of love to you and your wife.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, same.
I
Thank
will
you
give
so
everybody-
much.
I might be in town in a couple of weeks, so I'll drop you guys a line. I might stop by.
Please do. I'll buy you a beer. We'll sit down for 10 minutes and just catch up. All right. Take care, Nick.
Well,
Bye.